Well, hello, welcome to the video. This one is about three bands who in the 1980s I thought they were really good and were going to go big places, but nowadays, not sure you might have heard of them. Well, you might have heard of one of them or two of them, but let's see. First one is The Truth. Now, The Truth was formed in 1982, I think it was, by Dennis Greaves, who was the lead guitarist and vocalist of the band 9 Below Zero, who were named after the Sonny Boy Williamson song. It had Mark Feltham on the harmonica, and they played drive-in R&B blues, and they were really good. I first saw them in 1977 or 78, I can't remember, at the Thomas à Becket in the Old Kent Road, which was like a very big, very rough music pub. It was not for the faint-hearted. I think it used to play on Thursday nights. I might be wrong about all this stuff, which is all like 40 odd years ago, but I seem to remember it was a Thursday night. They used to play there every Thursday, and it would be rammed. I mean, literally rammed. 80% of them would be there to see 9 Below Zero, and 20% of them would be there to fight you. But that's 9 Below Zero. That's not The Truth. I know they didn't really like this, but I always saw them more as a mod-style band. Now, The Truth had quite a few hits, minor hits actually. Their first one, Confusion, hits us every time. I saw it on Top of the Pops, and I think got to number 22 in the charts, but every single they released after that was less and less successful. I mean, I think the next one was 33, then it was like 66, and so on. They had a reasonably big hit in the States with a track called Weapons of Love, which didn't even chart here. So it's all very confusing with The Truth, and I got the feeling there were some behind-the-scenes wrangles. They normally played at places like the Marquee or bigger places. They were always going to make it. They were always on the edge of making it big. People, if they liked 9 Below Zero, said they didn't like The Truth. Now, I liked both bands. I preferred 9 Below Zero to The Truth, to be honest. They broke up very soon after that, and Dennis reformed. 9 Below Zero went off to that, and funny enough, when he reformed The Truth, which I believe is in 2012, I put them on at the Borderline, and it was a very interesting night, very exciting night, full of nostalgia, but it didn't set the world on fire. And who's the next one? Before we get there, let's just say, if you like this, please like and subscribe. You know it helps me. That'd be great if you can. And comment, let me know what you think. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you disagree? Or say something completely off the wall. I don't care. And who is the next one? Well, the next one is Diesel Park West. Now, Diesel Park West were an indie band that I used to put on at the Cricketers in the 1980s. I heard about them because there's a guy called Andy Ross who was a partner with Dave Balfe in Food Records, and he used to ring up occasionally and say, I've got this great band, blah, 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 blah. Do you want to put them on? And frankly, if he said, will you put them on, I always did. And 99%, well, all the time, they were great bands, and they pulled a few people, and they were within days or weeks of him asking me to put them on. They were in the music press because Food Records was very trendy. They had Jesus Jones, they had Zodiac Mindwarp and the Love Reaction, and I can't remember who else they had. Later on, Andy signed up Blur, and the rest is history, as they say, but at the time, Diesel Park West was one of their bands, and they played at the Cricketers, and everybody liked them there. They were like an indie band. They were exciting. They were very pleasant people as well.
Well, in times of deep despair, I've never known any myself. I'm permanently happy, you know, born high.
They came from Leicestershire, I seem to remember. Whether that's to do with the fact that Andy went to university at Leicester University, I don't know. Possibly he saw them there. We put them on several times. They were really good. They were friends of the venue, really. Occasionally members of the band used to turn up when they weren't actually playing, which is always nice to see. And they went on to do bigger things in the 1990s, but they never really served their full potential. I think they were as good as Blur, maybe. Other people might not think that, but I thought so. And but unfortunately, they got nowhere near the same success. We always thought this is going to be the next one that's going to be big, but it never was. What a tragedy. And who's the next one? Well, the next one is one that's going to cause me a load of grief because this band has fanatical following, and it's the Pirates. bit of background for those of us who aren't quite so nerdy about the Pirates. The Pirates originally were Johnny Kidd and the Pirates. In 1966, Johnny Kidd died in a car crash on the way back from a gig, but by then the Pirates had broken up and he was going out with the new Pirates. But he'd already sanctioned the Pirates, this is getting very confusing, isn't it, who featured Mick Green on guitar, Johnny Spence on bass and Frank Farley on drum to go out on their own as the Pirates. And in the 1970s, which is not what we're talking about, they had limited success. They played at places like Dingwalls. They never had any commercial success, but they were very well liked. And they had a very loyal following. They didn't take off like a lot of bands did, like say Ian during the Blockheads went from playing pubs one week to next time they were playing the Hammersmith Odeon or whatever. They just kept playing the same pubs. And it was a mixture of standards and they did a few of their own stuff, but of course the big thing they did every show was Shaking All Over.
Shaking all over.
They played for me at the Cricketers. The problem was, to be honest with you, this is not going to go down well with the core following. Basically, Mick Green's guitar amp was just too loud. Because he also played in bigger shows. He also went off to play with Van Morrison and he played with Brian Ferry. And on a big stage, you can have your amp turned up loud. But on a small stage in a pub, it just drowns out everything else. It means the sound engineer has to struggle to get the vocals over. So I always had this thing with him. And also another thing which used to not annoy me, but it was like, at the time it was a bit of a thing. Mick Green also, his main job was he ran an insurance brokerage. So he was always trying to sell people insurance. I mean, he was a nice guy, great guy. Wilko Johnson famously learned to play the guitar to emulate Mick Green. Obviously back then there was no internet, no YouTube, so he couldn't watch a video about how Mick Green played. So he worked out his own way of playing like Mick Green, and it turned out to be totally different the way Mick Green played. Not a lot of people know that. See, there's all these things you're going to get from me, because I was there, you know. I was in the midst of all this. I was there knocking away insurance forms. I was there with Wilko Johnson as he threw a bottle at my head. I put them on again at the 100 Club later on, I suppose 2008, 2009. Unfortunately, they were not in the best of health by this time. I think at least two of them smoked, and the last couple of times I put them on, it wasn't great, put that way. But the band themselves in the 1970s, and before then when they were with Johnny Kidd, was exciting, it was dynamic, and there's nothing like that now, so there you go. And before I go, I'd just like to say, this video here is pretty much the same kind of thing as this, and I think you might enjoy it. Goodbye.